20 things that makes a man a gentleman. Have you ever thought about being a gentleman? Trends come and go. One thing remains constant: the notion that men should aspire to be gentlemen. However, there are some characteristics and traits that you should embody to make you be defined as a gentleman. Hard truths await. With reference to Gentleman's Journal, here are some hard to believe truths about who a gentleman is. If you are able to score more than 10 of these characteristics and traits that defines a gentleman according to Gentleman's Journal, then you are a perfect gentleman. Trait number 1. Gentleman never tells. No gossiping, no spreading of scandalous rumors or of speaking ill about others. A real gentleman always protects the integrity of himself and all those around him. A gentleman keeps affairs a tight-lipped secret. Nobody likes a gossip mouth. Nobody likes a bad mouth. Trait number 2. A gentleman knows that anything worth having is worth working hard for. Shortcuts, free ride, and many other tiny things have no place in a gentleman's world. A gentleman understands that he must work for his luxuries and his achievements will taste sweeter. A gentleman understands one thing, and that is, you only get what you give. And that's right. Trait number 3. A gentleman knows how to dance. Not too much. No one would like to see a grown man dancing moonwalking in a social gathering. Instead, you need enough footwork to help you hold the floor confidently in that social gathering. Romantic dances are also worth a gentleman's attention. Master even the simplest steps. Trait number 4. A gentleman helps anyone with their luggage. When a gentleman spots another person struggling with their heavy load, be it a man, a woman, a child, or an elderly, they go to help them. It could be on the streets, it could be at the train station, it could be in the airport. Just drop whatever you are doing and ask if you could assist them. It's a gentleman's thing to do. Trait number 5. A gentleman always RSVP. As a gentleman, you should never ever leave your nearest and dearest one hanging. Always reply promptly, whether it is a yes or it is a no. If someone has been good enough to invite you to an event, a gentleman will always be courteous to reply. Trait number 6. A gentleman knows the difference between confidence and arrogance. Arrogance is President Trump going into an election without having it in mind that he was going to lose. Confidence is James Bond strolling through the front door of a villain, boldly said that no one could even question him. If you want to be a gentleman, be like James Bond. Trait number 7. A gentleman is open-minded. Sharp wits can win any argument, but an intelligent, perfect gentleman knows the importance of listening to the view of others. He is never stubborn and always prepared to learn, to develop and broaden his worldview. Trait number 8. A perfect gentleman always proves that chivalry is not dead, because it isn't, especially if a gentleman looks in the right place. It may be different to anticipate the ideas of chivalry, but the concept is still much alive and kicking. Especially, chivalry can be chalked up to good manners, empathy, and the capacity to forgive. Trait number 9. A gentleman should go out of his way to make sure he never makes anyone cry, unless it is tears of joy. But a perfect gentleman makes sure that his actions and inactions does not inflict pain on others. Trait number 10. A perfect gentleman never lies. Liars are bad eggs. Full stop. A perfect gentleman will always tell the truth, even if it will take them to stand alone. Trait number 11. A gentleman never makes the first move. Whether it is the first move, the second move, the last move, or in between moves, a gentleman always makes sure that they are calm, reserved, and wait for the right time before they make a move. Trait number 12. A gentleman means what he says and he says what he means. He never means his words. Don't gargle your words. No double speaks, no jargon, no having to read between the lines. A real perfect gentleman gets to the point. A perfect gentleman understands that a tactful honesty is always the best policy. Trait number 13. For a lady, a perfect gentleman always offers his seat and opens the door. The simple gesture of offering your seat to a lady or opening the door for a lady simply puts you in the limelight of a perfect gentleman. Many may not believe or buy into this idea, but to a perfect gentleman, he will rather offend you with kindness rather than annoy you with rudeness. Trait number 14. A perfect gentleman will never judge you. First judgment says far more about the person making the judgment than the person being judged. As the old adage goes, never judge a book by its cover. This is an adage a perfect gentleman will be more familiar with. A perfect gentleman will always hold their opinion rather than pronouncing judgment on others. Trait number 15. A perfect gentleman is always well presented, no matter the company or the occasion. A perfect gentleman will always dress like that is their last day on earth. A perfect gentleman does not hang things in their wardrobe they don't like. They get rid of it. And they make sure they always have that perfect combination that will present them well. Trait number 16. A perfect gentleman always holds a firm handshake and makes eye contact. Weak grips and averted gazes are huge no-nos to a gentleman. A handshake is like a gentleman's signature. It tells people about the content of your character immediately. Trait number 17. A perfect gentleman always offers his coat to a lady. If you are close enough to a lady that you can see her shivering, it's a good manner to offer her your coat. It's an act of undeniable attentiveness and selflessness. Trait number 18. I love this one. Read my lips. A gentleman knows how to cook. Being able to prepare one good full meal should be the bare minimum. It's a charming skill to have. Trait number 19. A perfect gentleman always walks a woman home. It's not old-fashioned. It's good manners. Take her to the door and wait outside until she is safely inside. Standing outside in the rain, waiting for her bedroom lights to go off, doesn't make you a perfect gentleman. But after she visits you, make sure you take her home and make sure she is safe enough. Trait number 20 and the last trait. A gentleman doesn't insist on paying the bills. Are you shocked? If after hanging out with friends, they indicate that they will cover the bill, don't insist at paying at all costs or ignore the wishes of others. Are you still worried you are not a gentleman? How many of these 20 points do you think you are familiar with or you've been able to squash in the past? To be a gentleman is not about how you appear or you present yourself, but the little tiny things makes you a perfect gentleman. Aspire to be a gentleman.